You know the feeling. You start an argument with someone about a specific, simple disagreement, but 20 minutes later, you realize you're both shouting at each other about a completely different, totally unrelated topic. The conversation has completely derailed. You've likely just been hit by a red herring. In the world of logic, a red herring is a manipulative tactic where an arguer hides the weakness of their position by dragging your attention away from the real issue and forcing you to focus on a side issue. To understand how this works, we have to look at the traditional sport of fox hunting. When training the hunting dogs, trainers would take a strong-smelling smoked fish, literally a red herring, and drag it directly across the trail. The pungent smell was a test. The trainers wanted to see if the dogs had the discipline to ignore the distracting new odor, or if they would abandon the true scent of the fox and chase the fish instead. In arguments, avoiding the fish is an actual rule called the rebuttal criterion. A good argument must effectively rebut an opponent's criticism head-on. But a red herring is a foul. Instead of answering a tough criticism, the arguer diverts the path. They exploit our natural human tendency to chase the newest, strongest scent in the room, breaking the core rule of debate. People use these conversational disguises all the time. Let's open up the evasion playbook, starting with play number 1, the perspective shift. Imagine you are at work. You sit down with an older manager to raise a valid complaint. You are receiving low, unfair wages for your labor. Instead of addressing your pay, your manager sighs and points out that things could be worse. They tell you that when they were your age, they were only making $35 a week. It might be factually true that they made $35 a week, but historical wage comparisons do absolutely nothing to resolve the specific issue of your current fair compensation. The manager threw a fish on the trail to avoid talking about your paycheck. Let's scale this up to play number 2, the hypocrisy pivot. We see this constantly on high-stakes political debate stages. Picture 2 politicians, Senator Yates and Senator Webb. Yates challenges Webb, demanding to know why Webb refuses to support an anti-abortion amendment when it deals with the protection of human life. Webb doesn't answer the question. Instead, he aggressively pivots. He demands to know why Yates hasn't supported gun control legislation, pointing out that gun control also deals with the sanctity of human life. Webb weaponizes a related theme to dodge his own voting record, putting Yates on the defensive. These emotional plays perfectly mask the fact that the original premise of the argument has been completely abandoned. The third playbook tactic is perhaps the most alluring. We'll call it the aspirational evasion. Take a debate over whether a college should adopt a strict student honor code. A student named Peter argues practically. He says the honor code will fail because their specific college lacks the deep institutional history required to actually maintain it. His classmate Anne counters. She claims that implementing the code is absolutely necessary because doing so would put their school among the nation's most elite institutions. When Anne mentions elite institutions, she is intentionally invoking the prestige of places with long-standing honor systems, like the military academy at West Point. It makes her argument sound incredibly persuasive. But Anne never actually addressed Peter's core concern about practicality or their school's lack of tradition. She just dangled the shiny idea of prestige to distract everyone from the very real weaknesses in her proposal. Aspirational red herrings are incredibly hard to catch. They actively stroke our egos. We willingly abandon the difficult, practical issue at hand because the shiny new conversation makes us feel glamorous. So, what do you actually do when you realize your opponent has just thrown a smelly fish across your conversational trail? Your first instinct might be to shout, "That's not the issue we're talking about," but that usually fails. It mildly irritates the other person, who might honestly believe their point is relevant, and quickly escalates into a separate conflict. Instead, you need a strategy of constant surveillance. You have to be prepared to articulate exactly how and why this new topic has diverged from your original point of contention. Use tactful redirection. Treat an innocent swerve gracefully. You should save the actual accusation of a red herring only for the deliberate manipulators trying to dodge accountability. A highly effective phrasing technique is to calmly acknowledge the new point. You tell them that this side issue might be a genuinely interesting topic for another day. Then firmly steer the conversation right back to your specific, unanswered question. A master debater trains their mind to ignore the distraction. Let the fish rot on the trail, and keep your nose locked entirely on the true target.